Now, moving forward, your life only gets better when you do work on yourself, and the rest will follow, as mentioned by Cushioned Wisdom. So, our next speaker for the day is Mr. Harinder Chhabra, alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad, director of the Infinity School. Mr. Chhabra, an alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad, is a passionate educationist with a dream to bring change in the way students are educated and prepared for future. His extraordinary flair in numbers, languages, and analytical thinking skills have always set him apart from the rest. He has an intuitive sense of understanding children that fuels his endeavor to create a child-centric learning environment. He has founded the Infinity School with a vision to provide the right ecosystem where children develop the right skills, mindsets, and beliefs by deploying a well-researched pedagogy. He believes that the transformative journey has begun and his dream of making a difference to children's education will come true soon. We welcome you, sir. Over to you.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. I'm really privileged to be talking to a fresh batch. I think this is the right time when we can discuss about what they should be doing in these 2 years, what their expectations should be, um, and congratulations for you to actually think of something like this. It is important to draw on the experience of the people from the industry, um, from people who have lived this life, to bring them on a platform which can help your students right at the beginning of the 2 year program, and um, uh, advice from all the people who've spoken before me and what I'm going to speak about will really, I think, help the students of the institution. Um so congratulations to the college, and congratulations to all the students uh, who have spent the last 3 days, and this is the fourth day, in understanding what people like me and people who are more experienced than me have to say about what they should be thinking about in these 2 years, and what is the life after passing out. So what I would do is I would start sharing my screen now, and I would share a small PPT, and I will these are some bullet points that I made, and I will talk about those things. So let's start with that. So what I chose as a topic uh, was sharpening the saw, looking within. See, what happens is that when uh, when we start our journey in higher education, whatever course we take, we start thinking about what will I get? What will somebody else do for me? Uh, what will this PGDM give me? What will my professors teach me? And what kind of a job I will get after my PGDM is over? So the entire thought process revolves around uh, I have joined this course. I am here for 2 years. Something magical will happen. My professors will do something for me. My college will do something for me. And when I sit for placement, some magical thing will happen, and these companies will come and they will want to offer me a job. I think this thought process needs to be very different. Uh, there are thousands of graduate people graduating every year in the country. Uh, there are very few jobs in the market, especially now in this era of the pandemic. Uh, and there are professors teaching everybody, right? What you need to think is, what can you do? I think the approach needs to be around, during these 2 years, what can I learn during these 2 years of my PGDM? What can I ask my faculty and learn from them? What kind of a career I want, and what can I contribute to the organization I eventually join? So if you look at the two slides, the very stark difference is that in the second slide, I'm asking you to take charge. I'm asking you to take ownership. This is an attitudinal shift, which I think you will have to bring about if you really want to benefit from this 2-year program. It's an opportunity for you to transform yourself. It is not just about learning marketing, learning operations, learning finance. Those are hard skills. Fine. They will they will label you as somebody who knows something. But companies don't hire you only for what you know. They also hire you for what you are and what you can be. What I mean by that is what kind of a person you are. Do you take ownership? If a company gives you a job, would you go back and say, this person did not do this, therefore I could not do my job? Or do you take ownership and say, I was assigned this job, I did it, whatever it took. If I had to talk to 20 people to seek help, I did that. If I had to work 20 hours a day, I did that. I got the job done. So companies are looking at people who would take ownership, who would take that ownership of fulfilling their duty, whatever the time of the day. I was listening to the last 10 minutes of the previous speaker. He's right. Work time, and one of the questions was work time, work life balance. Yes, it's important. But in a country like India, where there is cutthroat competition, I think we are far, far away from work-life balance. And especially in the initial few years of your life, you should not be thinking about that. We'll come to that later. But what I'm saying is take ownership. Look at, think about things that you can do. Think about things that you can ask your institute to do for you. But you have to take that ownership. You have to ask those questions. You have to go to people. You have to take the initiative. People will not do things for you. But you will have to decide what you want and then take action. So that's something that I wanted to really talk about even before I start the main part of my discussion. That if you really want to make it big, if you want to really be successful, even if some of you want to go back and join your family business, even if some of you want to start a startup or join a startup, it is important that you start thinking about what can you do. The problem in India in general is that we are very good debaters, we are very good ideators. हमारे आइडिया बहुत आते हैं हमारे पास, लेकिन जब काम करने की बारी आती है हम बहाने ढूंढते हैं. ये नहीं हुआ क्योंकि उसने वो नहीं किया, क्योंकि मेरे को ये नहीं मिला, क्योंकि दिन में सिर्फ 24 घंटे ही होते हैं, क्योंकि ये, क्योंकि वो. This is not going to work. Successful people look for answers. Successful people steal time. They don't look for excuses. They're not even thinking about those things. They're not even thinking about a situation where they will have to think of these answers. They're out there to achieve. Very important thing is don't look for easy way out. Take ownership, take charge, and complete ownership of making you successful completely lies on you, not your campus, not the companies, not your parents. It's you, and we will see how and why. So I'm going to talk about the two important segments that you are going to kind of see or live in. One is your immediate 2 years in your college life, and one is your life after that, your corporate life. So what I'm going to say now is something that I wish somebody would have told me before I joined my PGDM program in IIM Ahmedabad. Most of my suggestions are based on my personal experience, from what I have seen and learned from my batchmates, from my peers, from my colleagues in the corporate life. A lot of things I've read and learned from that. But all of these suggestions are primarily based on my own life's experiences and my own unique circumstances. So it's important for you to modify and look at them from your own circumstances. For example, A lot of people say that right at the beginning of your career, right after college, start something on your own. A middle class family cannot afford. They need one more earning member of the family. So for many people, it is very difficult to not take up a job and do a startup. So their circumstances don't allow them to not take up a job. It's important, the money that they earn, it's important for the family. So those circumstances are unique for every individual. So whatever suggestions you've got till now, whatever suggestion you're about to get from me today, look at them in your own life and see what circumstances you have and then take decisions accordingly. Do not follow any advice blindly. Uh, so the first thing I'm going to talk about in college life is purpose. I think this is, if you ask me, what is it that I want you to spend your 2 years on? If there is one thing, if you ask me, sir, tell me one thing that we should focus on. What is the topmost priority that we should give to if you have to do only one thing in these entire 2 years? I would say identify a purpose of your life. It is very important. This purpose will define everything for you. Let me elaborate a little bit on what purpose means. It is important that you find out what is it that you want to really contribute uh, to society. In which field do you like? Would you like to remove poverty? Would you like to remove hunger? Would you like to remove inequality? Would you like to remove injustice? Would you like to do something else? Would you? So this purpose I'm talking about is not, I want to be a manager in 5 years. Don't want to be in a CEO of a company in 15 years. Fine, these are goals. This is not a purpose of your life. These are goals of your career. What is the deep purpose of your life? Right? For me, it is how do I change the way children in schools are learning? Because we feel that in schools we do a lot of ratification. Our CBSE board checks memory, very little of application. But when we go to corporate life, when we go to college, we are expected uh, to apply our mind, which we have never done till class 12th, very, very rarely. So my purpose in life is to change the way school education is running in the country. I've started with taken a small step with my own school, but I have a larger goal. I want to help government decide policy at some point in time, maybe 10 years from now, maybe 15 years from now, maybe even after I'm like 60, but that's fine. At some point of time, I want to influence the policy of the country in education. So that's the purpose of of what I want to do in my life. So what is that purpose for you? What is it that you want to bring a change in within our country? It could not be just okay. If country is a big landscape for you, within the city you are living in. So, for example, uh, very recently, Gurgaon as a city had their own municipal corporation. Gurgaon was run by Huda, which is Haryana Urban Development Authority. But now Gurgaon has a municipal corporation like the Delhi North, South, West Municipal Corporation. So, a lot of citizens of Gurgaon, one of my alma mater, alumni from my alma mater, the founder of Make My Trip, Deep Kalra, is part of that board of, governance of the MCT. So his purpose is to make Gurgaon a better place to live. It's a messy place. It is a tough place to survive. It has potholes everywhere. The roads are bad. Connectivity is poor. Traffic jams are huge. Water is a big problem in Gurgaon. Uh, Crime is a big issue. We know what happened day before yesterday in Gurgaon. A lot of water logging. So these are civic issues. He wants to make a difference. So he wants to make Gurgaon a better place to live. So his purpose is now to do that after he has made travel easier for all of us, right? So you need to define a purpose. It could be a city, it could be your neighborhood, it could be your country, it could be your family. Your purpose of your life could be to make life easy for your family. How? Define. You have to define that purpose of your life. Uh, it is important to focus on that identification of that purpose. And once you decide, everything follows. In the long term, satisfaction from achieving your purpose gives you more happiness than the money you earn. And mind you, there is a Harvard uh, research over 2 to 3 decades which says the happiest people were those who had good family bonds, people who had good connect with their family members. So what brings happiness to our lives is something we really don't think about. We think if we become big people in our careers, we earn a lot of money, our life will be we will be happy. No, your life will be more convenient because money can buy convenience, but it need not bring you happiness. Happiness will come from a sense of achievement of your purpose. So going back to what I said, if there is one thing I would like you to do, uh, then in these 2 years, spend enough time defining what your purpose of life is. And once you define the purpose of life, choosing the stream, choosing your electives in the next second year will become very, very easy. You would know if you want to achieve a particular purpose, what are the skill set you need, skills you need, what is the knowledge bank you want to kind of build, and therefore what courses to take, what specialization to really um, kind of pursue. And and in all of this, if there is one subject, again you say okay, subject choices is fine, but in these 2 years, which is that one subject which will help us lifelong? And I'm going to surprise you by saying this, that the subject that will uh, help you survive in your life is business law. If you open a startup, you need to understand law. If you join a startup, you need to understand law. If you join a company, you need to understand what you can and what you cannot do as per the law of the country. It is the most boring subject in a PGDM program, but I've learned the hard way. uh, Law used to be the first subject early in the morning for me, and most of the times I would doze off in the classroom. It would be difficult for me because late nights we would be doing a project. We would sleep at 3, we would sleep at 4 a.m. And at 9 o'clock after breakfast, you have to attend this law class and you would be dozing off in your class right in the first row. Uh, you would get the first late in the night rather. So, but this is one subject you should all really learn well. This is going to really be very helpful to you. Law is something uh, that governs everything we do. It is ever changing. You need to know your income tax law. You need to know your um, uh, law for telemarketing, for example, if you're going to get into a business where you need to connect with people. Uh, you need to, even SMS marketing has laws by TRI. So there are a lot of laws in the country. You need to learn those laws to be able to do well. Uh, the third important thing that I would like you to do in your college life is to focus on soft skills. Uh, so my learning of these last 18 or years after my PGDM is that what helped me really in my career so far has been my ability to interact with people, is my ability to communicate, is my ability to negotiate, is my ability to empathize with others, is my ability to be persuasive, is my ability to be a critical thinker, is my ability to analyze, is my ability to be able to convince the other person about what I'm saying, is my ability to get my team along with me. Because, you know, one thing you need to always remember is that every minute of your life, you're selling something to someone. Right now, I'm selling more than your hard skills. And what I mean by hard skills is your finance skills, your subject knowledge on marketing, your subject knowledge on HR. That those are your hard skills. But your soft skills is about you. Your soft skills is about your ability to convince somebody else about your idea. So who are these else and what are the situations where you need these soft skills? If you are in a sales job, you're selling your product or service to a customer. If you're in a desk job, you're selling your ability, you're selling your skill to the person that, yes, I can do a more challenging job than this. I need a promotion because I have done this. When you're sitting for your half yearly or year end appraisals, you're selling yourself. You're selling your ability. You're selling your skill set. You're selling what you can do. You are showcasing your past achievements and convincing the other person that you can do a bigger job, you can manage a bigger team, you can take up a higher responsibility. You're always selling. When you're in the middle management, you're selling your ability to lead the organization to your leadership team in the organization. When you're going for an interview, you're selling your ability. You're showcasing to the other person that you can really do a good job of what they expect you to do in this job. It's about negotiation. You are bargaining for a better salary through your negotiation. It's again a soft skill. So within the team, if you're leading a team, you're selling an idea to your team. You're selling an idea to your team saying that today we will need to work 2 hours extra and nobody will get overtime and nobody should have a, a drooping face. We should do it with a lot of conviction. We should do it with a lot of happiness on our face. Everything, every interaction involves soft skills, and this is something that really uh, helps you grow in your career. uh, you can be the best technical person on a subject, right? But if you don't have the soft skills, you will always fall behind. People who have, who, let's assume two people have the same kind of knowledge, same kind of experience, but one person has better communication, grooms well, he will get a job. So communication, personal grooming, along with other soft skills that I spoke about, are very important. It is okay not to know some technical things, but if you are good at communication, if you can convince the other person, okay, I do not know this, but I am a fast learner and I will learn this even before I join the job, right? And you are able to convince the person that yes, what you're saying is what you will do, you will get the job, even if you don't know the skill. But if you know the skill, let us say they're looking for a salesperson, and you are the best salesperson. You're very strong on your selling skills, but you can't communicate. You can't convince the other person on why they should hire you. Then the skill of no is of no use. So very important that you focus a lot of your effort on developing yourself. Figure a way out in your college how to do it. Form groups amongst yourself. Do a lot of practice on communication. Do a lot of presentations. There are a lot of group assignments that you will get. Take them very seriously. Take your projects very seriously, because these projects teach you. Uh, the idea of these projects is to not just build those understanding of subject knowledge, but also to develop team skills, also to develop communication skills, persuasion skills, critical thinking skills, reasoning skills, empathy, time management, prioritization. All these skills you learn because the colleges give projects to the PGTM program students. So take them very seriously, and give them priority. So if you have two kinds of settings, one is to party with your friends in the evening versus a group discussion on a topic. I would say focus on the group discussion. Uh, these are your years of learning. They will never come back. Once these years are gone, you will never get time to learn. And then you will always want to learn, but you will never have the time. This is the time. Uh, the education system in the country has decided that these 2 years are important for you to learn these skills. Don't waste them. Uh, the other point is network. When I say network, is not exchange cards or numbers or WhatsApp contacts. When I say network, I mean talk. I mean talk to your alumni of the institute. I think this, if I'm not wrong, this is the 11th or the 12th batch of the institute. So there are at least 8 to 9, 9 to 10 batches who have gone before you, right? There will be roughly 300, 400, 500 people out there who passed out. There'll be people in your personal networks from your own college, graduation college, who's gone to some other college. They have a network. Reach out to people, talk to them, ask them what life is after college. Ask them what is it that they feel about what I'm saying. Uh, Ask your institute to hold alumni sessions. Ask the alumni what is it that they want to share with you, what mistakes they made that you should not make. Ask them about the organizations, the culture of the organizations. What is it? Are they enjoying their work? What is it that makes them enjoy their work? Why, if some of them say, we are hating what we're doing, ask them why are they hating what they're doing? Ask your faculty. Your faculty has huge knowledge about industry. They're connected to industry. Talk to them. Seek their advice. Don't be afraid. And that's a point I will come later. Read a lot. I saw in the schedule there was a 1 hour session on the library. I don't know if all of you attended, but trust me, if you spend 2 hours every time reading about the world, uh, not the politics of it, but the economy side of it. Read about economy, read about sociology, read about psychology. Understand what's happening in the world. Understand what's happening in America. What's happening because of the pandemic? What is the impact of pandemic on people's lives? Not just your own life. Read a lot. When you go for an interview, people will ask you questions, and this reading will really help you. This reading will help you get the job that you want, not the job you eventually get. Knowledge is not just in the books that your college prescribes you. Knowledge is not just in the Philip Kotler. Knowledge is also about what other marketing ideas are happening in the market. Knowledge is about how Nike very recently in a campaign beautifully spoke about gender balance, color of the skin. So very, very important to read. Very important. If there is, if I have a choice ever between 2 hours of partying hard and 2 hours of reading, I would choose reading, because you have in a lifespan of 72 years, you will pass out at age 22, 23. You have 50 more years to enjoy and party, right? But you will not get this time where nobody's asking you questions. Your parents are not asking. Your spouses are not asking for your time. This time is completely your own. Nobody has more time after passing out than they have while they are studying in a college. So maximize learning during this time. Read a lot of newspapers, read a lot of online portals. I would recommend The Wire. I would recommend The Hindu. Most newspapers are tabloid these days. They don't give you real quality news. Read The Wire, read The Hindu. High quality journalism gives you exposure to wide variety of topics, improves your skill, improves your ability to understand the world. At the end of the day, whatever you do, whether you start your own business, whether you join a startup, whether you join a large corporate, whether you join a small company, you're actually operating in an economy. And if you don't understand the economy, and what is an economy? It's people. It's how people think, how people decide, uh, how people behave, what is the psychological makeup. I think these are very, very important things. And all this will develop not in the lectures in the classroom, but from reading a lot. Lectures will give you an idea. Lectures will give you, okay, this is a concept, but you have to read more about that concept. Just finishing a book and saying that, okay, I scored, say, 80%, 85%, 70%, 90% in my exam, in my test. I'm a A grader. Doesn't really help. That's only for the exam. That is only that's the grade that you got, which tested only a part of the knowledge that you're supposed to have, right? Learn about the world, read a lot. The last point in college life is faculty as guides. Do not be afraid of your faculty. Yes, respect them. Yes, give them their space. Yes, uh, take their word, trust them. But at the same time, go to them, ask them if you want more information. Ask them what you should read more, which book to read more, which articles to read, which journal to read. In fact, if a library has journals on various subjects, these journals are the best sources of learning about latest happenings in the world, latest research in the world on that particular topic. Read those journals. uh, Let me share a personal experience here. One of the most dreaded faculty on IMA campus was a professor who taught us a subject, and he used to be I mean everybody used to fear him. In my second year, as one of my electives, I and one of my batchmates decided to take up a project, and he said we will do this project with this particular professor. And I said, are you out of your mind? I mean, I am very fearful of him. वो पता नहीं क्या हो जाएगा, मतलब will he even, पता नहीं वो grade D ना दे दे, मतलब fail ही ना कर दे. He's so tough, his expectations are so high. uh, but my batchmate said, he was also a very good friend, and he said, doesn't matter, सीखेंगे तो सही ना, हम सीखने आए हैं. So even if he is tough, he will not give us a great grade. Let's try. I think it's worth it. कुछ नहीं होगा लाइफ में, कुछ नहीं बदलेगा. कुछ गलत होगा तो होगा, बोलेंगे हमने ये गलत डिसीजन लिया, but then it's okay. So I said, okay, I'll go with you. So what happened in that project was we continuously interacted with him, and the more we interacted with him, the more we took his guidance, the more he opened up, the more he guided us, the more warm he became to us. And in the end, we got an A grade in the project, and it was a project worth 2 subjects, and we got an A grade that was outstanding, and my entire perspective about him changed. And then I realized that why he was tough, because he wanted us to be disciplined, he wanted us to be focusing on learning, to be giving our best, putting our best foot forward. So many a times these tough faculties, these tough professors are very tough on the outside, but when you go to them one on one, you talk to them, you ask them, what should you read, what will help you groom yourself in this particular area, what research to talk about, which articles to follow up on. I think they're the best resources. They're the best people to guide you to the resources that you should be reading. So maximize the opportunity to talk to your faculty, and learn from them and take the guidance. So before I move to the corporate life, I would want to know if there are some questions in this section, because in the end it will become a very long story. People would kind of forget what I spoke in the beginning, but this particular aspect I think is very important to discuss, and I'm open to take a 5-minute question break before I move to the next section.
So there are no questions to the students because the concept that you have explained is very much clear to them.
Okay, so should I move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's talk about corporate life. I think a lot of people make this mistake that they join a company, or they want to join a company which pays the highest salary. Uh, I think that's the wrong approach. I think the first 10 years of your corporate life, you should focus on learning about what corporate life is. Um, you should learn and build the skills that you need to be successful in corporate life. Uh, Build your competency. Be good at that one thing that really people would want and people would desire that you should be part of their team, you should be part of their company, become so good at it that people, when one person moves to another company, he says, oh, agar aapko aisa banda chahiye to meri company mein wo banda hai, he's the guy you should hire. Let people be your, brand ambassadors, and that will only happen if you are competent. I'll go back to the example of Three Idiots. uh, Remember what Rancho said: if you're successful at what you do, money will follow, people will be after you to give you money. uh, and that's true, and that's very true. So focus on building competency. uh, Successful people are always in demand, competent people are always in demand. And when I say successful, successful are what you do, not in terms of money. So if you are successful at what you do, if you're very competent at what you do, if you have the right mindset, if you have the right soft skills, people will want you to join their teams. And at the money you want, you will have the negotiating power when you have the competency. When you don't have the competency, the negotiating power is with the company. या तुम्हारे जैसे और 36 खड़े हैं, हम तो 2.5 लाख रुपए देंगे, हम तो 10 लाख रुपए देंगे, हम तो 20 लाख रुपए, company decide. But when you are competent, 10 years from now, but focus on competency. Flexible. So when I say be flexible in your jobs, you might get hired for a particular job. 2 years down the line, the company says, okay, we need people in this particular department, and we think you're a good person. Take up that challenge. If it fits, if you feel it's challenging enough, take up that challenge. Be flexible. No one knows what will happen tomorrow. 6 months ago, we never knew the economy will be declining by 10, 20, 30%. 6 months ago, we never knew there will be no international flights. 6 months ago, we never knew we'll be all working from home. 6 months ago, we never knew that students would be learning from their homes. Professors would be teaching on screens. Students of nursery will be sitting and doing activities uh, in their home, sitting in front of a iPad or a laptop, and the teacher being far away in her home. If people were not flexible, this would not be happening. If people had no flexibility, people would say, कॉलेज आएंगे तो पढ़ेंगे, ये घर से पढ़ना क्या होता है. People, professors would say, हमें तो पढ़ाना ही नहीं आता है. How is this going to happen? Everybody in the world today has shown flexibility, adaptability, which is why we are able to do what we're doing today, which is why still we are able to somehow run the country, which is why still we are able to think positively about what will happen 2 years down the line. So when you pass out, the good thing is that this pandemic has happened when you're taking admission into a PGDM program. The hope is that by the time you end your 2-year program, the market would be different, the economy would be looking up, and there'll be better prospects for all of you. So don't worry about this pandemic. Be positive, have hope, and looking at this, this situation today, think of 2 years down the line, what would the trend be, or a sub trend आपको reading से आएंगे. If you don't read, you will not understand these trends, and accordingly prepare yourself. Third thing I want to talk about in corporate life is patience and long innings. Be a Dhoni. If you understand what Dhoni used to do was, he will have a lot of dot balls in the beginnings of his innings. He will understand the pace of the bowler. He will understand the conditions of the pitch, the bounce of the pitch, whether the ball is seaming, whether the ball is swinging. He would understand where the fielding is. He will understand uski body kaise move kar rahi hai aaj. He will understand everything before he starts playing his shot. And when he starts playing his shot, I mean, we all know he was capable of hitting a six of every ball, right? So have patience, spend a lot of time. From 20 to 60, 65, by the time you retire, it's 40 years. You are just 19, 20 years old. 2021, not 1920, sorry. You're just 20, 21 years old. You've not even lived 1/4 of your life. There is a huge amount of years in front of you for which you have to plan now. So if you prepare well in these 2 years, your balance 40 years of corporate life will be very fruitful. If you don't prepare in these 2 years, it will be difficult. And after you pass out these from the campus, the first 10 years of your life, of your corporate life, spend time in learning, like I said, build competencies, have patience. Spend 5 years in every company you work with. Don't look at your friends who will say, यार यहाँ मेरे को इतने मिल रहे थे, यहाँ मेरे को 20% हाइक मिला, मैंने एक साल में जॉब चेंज कर ली, तीसरे साल में मैंने एक और जॉब चेंज कर ली, चौथी जॉब में nobody will hire you because people will say we invest in this person, we train him, when it is time to perform they quit for higher salary. So people will not stop hiring people like this. Today people don't hire people who are job switchers. People want people who are loyal, people who will give them the return for the money they invest in your training. When I say training, it's not about classroom training, it is field training also. When they teach you something, when the manager spends effort to help you work in their organization, help you acclimatize to the culture of their organization, that every minute of that is an investment on you. So organization wants return on their investment, and people who will stay longer are more likely to give them the return. Corporate life, there is no free lunch. You get something, you have to give back, and organizations demand that. And because they're not running for charity, I'll give you an example. One of my most successful batchmates from campus is somebody who spent 18 years. Last 18 years, he's been in the same company in the United Nations, in the United States of America, and he's now in the top leadership team of the company worldwide. Patience, learn. 18 years is too long a time. Spend at least 5 years. In 5 years, you will get enough opportunities to prove yourself. If you prove yourself, either your organization will grow you, give you bigger responsibilities, higher salary, a bigger team to manage, or you will be good enough for anybody else to hire you. But focus on learning in the first 10 years of life. This time will never come back. And like I said, learn new skills. Your time of these 2 years in the college will teach you certain skills. Build on those skills. Learn to be more resourceful. Learn to be a better negotiator. Learn to be a better persuasion. Improve your communication skills. Improve your grooming skills. How you look, how you groom yourself. How does your hair look? What kind of specs you wear? These are important things. How you look really matters to the people, because we perceive people through our eyes. That's the reality. We make perceptions about people from our eyes, not from our brain. We don't think about people. We actually see people and decide ये बंदा कैसा होगा. आप सोचना इस बारे में. When you meet somebody new, if you meet your batchmates for the first time on campus, whenever the campus is allowed to be open by the government, you will realize आप आदमी को देखते हो और उसके बारे में एक व्यू बना लेते हो. बिना उससे बात करे आप व्यू बनाते हो. उसको देख के व्यू बनाते हो. So we form our opinions about people from our eyes, not from our discussions with them. So the first opinion is from how you look. Important to carry yourself very well. So learn grooming skills. So build on all the skills. Keep improving. And this is one of the very important points. Integrity. I think. Understand. People hire you and give you a responsibility in a company. Now, the responsibility is to finish the job. If you don't do the job, you lose the trust of that person. And if a company cannot trust a person, you will never get growth. Because organizations want people they can trust, people who fulfill their commitments, who fulfill their duty, who achieve what they set out to. And if you are somebody who, as an organization, I cannot trust, I will never give you growth. I would rather want you out of my organization. Right? So build trust, keep commitments, always be honest to yourself, to the organization, to the team you are in. And though the topic of your induction is around being a manager, My last slide will tell you why I'm talking about you as a person and not you as a manager. And I will come to that in the end. Um, but integrity has to be up there as the first and the most important core value that you live by. So you should make yourself somebody who people can trust. Your peers should be able to trust you. Your team members should be able to trust you. Your supervisor should be able to trust you. Your leadership team should be able to trust you. Your family should be able to trust you. Your spouse at some point in time should be able to trust you. Your children should be able to trust you. Your customers should be able to trust you. If you win trust, you can do anything. If you don't win trust, there is nothing. Nobody will give you a job. Nobody will give you a responsibility. Nobody will even try to engage with you. So this is a very important thing. This value of trust, integrity is very, very important. The most important thing when it comes to value system. The other important thing I want to talk about is perseverance. So what is perseverance? Perseverance basically is not quitting midway. Uh, Sorry. Am I audible? Can I get a confirmation?
Yes, sir.
Right. Perseverance is very, very important, and you should not quit. Whatever is hard the situation is, howsoever hard the job becomes, even if your managers push you to work late in the night, there is a way of saying it. There is a way of communicating, but do not ever shirk from your responsibilities. Yes, a bad abusive manager is not good. Raise your voice, but never shirk responsibility, never shirk work. Uh, if you are going to fulfill your job, your responsibilities, then you're dependable to your manager. The more dependable you become, the more uh, important you become for the organization. The more important you become, the more power, negotiating power you get when it comes to promotions, when it comes to salary increases, when it comes to getting more challenging jobs, when it comes to getting leadership opportunities. So build trust, have integrity, be honest, and persevere. Respect. Respect. Even listening to others is giving respect to their views, is giving respect uh, uh, to their thoughts, is giving respect to them. So best managers are people who are keen listeners, because when you listen to people, you understand uh, what they're trying to say. Not everybody is good at saying and articulating what they really feel, but many a times people say things, but they are not able to express their feelings. And a good listener is able to understand and read between the lines and understand those feelings and take action accordingly. Uh, so be a good listener, respect the other person, and show this respect. And what I was saying to you is that a good team manager, team member. So you have to be the best team member by doing all of what I just told you to become a really good team manager, to become a leader at some point of time in your life, to become somebody who people look up to. But you have to start from becoming a good human being to becoming a good team member before you even think of becoming a good or a great team manager. So it starts with you, like I started in the beginning. What can you do? What can you learn? What can you ask people to learn? Uh, and how can you groom yourself? How can you sharpen the saw and look within and improve your own self so that you become a better version of yourself every day and become the best team member to eventually become a great team manager or a great leader. So it starts with you, it ends with you. So have fun, and this is where I end. We have 10 more minutes and I'm open to questions.
So there's one question from Deepti. She wants, so to become a good leader, what are the competencies that are majorly required?
I think I just spoke about this for last 1 hour. That's what we were talking about, right? All of this is required to become a good leader. Leader is not about being having a position where 200 people report to you. Leader, you can be your own leader. You can be a leader of people who don't even report to you. You can be a. It's leadership. Leadership is about gaining the respect of people, uh, gaining the respect of everybody around you. You can actually be a leader even if you don't have people reporting into you. So even your own manager could be looking at you for advice. So you are a leader. I mean, you have a thought which people want to listen to. You have a view which people want to really, really understand because you're knowledgeable, because you give good advice, because you think deeply, because you're analytical. I think all of these are qualities of a good leader. So leadership is not about the designation. Leadership is not about how many people you lead. Leadership is about all of the things that we spoke about, and it starts from you. It starts from who you are and not what you are. I think who you are is more important than what you are. So spend time on who you are. Define a purpose. If you have a purpose, everything will follow. Trust me on this. Everything will be crystal clear in your life if you spend time thinking about why you want to do something and what do you want to do.
So
आई नो
thank
ये थोड़ा आंसर थोड़ा गोल लगेगा, ये आंसर लगेगा, ये घुमा दिया, मेरे क्वेश्चन का डायरेक्ट आंसर नहीं दिया. कोई डेफिनेशन नहीं है. ये कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है कि व्हाट डिफाइन अ ब्रांड इज अ प्रॉमिस. Answer is a brand is a promise that you make to your customer, right? It is not as simple as that. Leadership is something that is evolving. Leadership has hundreds of theories around it. Every person has a different leadership style. Yes, the MBA will teach you there are certain leadership styles, but then they're all evolving. So everybody has their own unique style, and everybody is a unique leader. You can't box them. So you have to define your own leadership style. But what kind of a leader you are will depend on what kind of a person you are, right? So it all starts from you as a person. So invest on yourself.
okay. Thank you, sir. So there's one more question. Vinay wants to ask, how can we handle the pressure?
How can you handle the pressure?
Right.
By not feeling pressurized. Yeah. So I'll explain this. If you have extra workload and if you want to do it, you will never feel the pressure, right? You feel pressurized because you don't want to take that over extra workload. So, many of you would have given CAT. It's tough to get into IIM. It was tough for me also. But let me tell you, life inside IIM Ahmedabad was tougher than cracking CAT. And I discovered it when I got in. Nobody told me this. So your life inside your campus will be tougher than cracking the exam that got into this institution. The exam was an easier part. It's a much easier part. Uh, it's important that whatever comes your way, projects, assignment from your professor, maybe these 2 years you only sleep 8 hours a day, or sorry, 6 hours a day, 5 hours a day. We used to do that. But then there were times we had weekends where we used to cover up our sleep, uh, but never shy away from working hard during these 2 years or even in corporate life. Uh, because pressure is something when you don't want to do it and you feel the pressure कि यार ये कैसे, because you're more worried about ये इतना क्यों है, इतना एक्स्ट्रा काम क्यों है, rather than ये काम है, करना है, कैसे करूं. So focus more on finding ways to achieve it, finding ways to complete it, finding ways to do whatever you want to do. Do good time management, prioritize well, prioritize studies over parties. uh, it's okay if you don't meet your parent for 6 months. There is no problem. These days, अभी तो आप घर पे हो, but I'm saying, even in campus life, it's okay. These days, FaceTime, Zoom, Google Meet, they're available. I think they're good substitutes. Uh, And therefore, if you really want to not feel the pressure, start finding solutions. To me, feeling pressure is an excuse.
One student wants to ask uh, if multitasking reduces focus, or should we?
Unproven, but it is always good to focus on one thing. It is always good to focus on one thing at a time. You could have multiple areas of interest, but when you are doing something, pick up that one thing, research very well, read a lot, understand it deeply before you move on to the next thing. So yes, focus is always better than multitasking. Research has not proven that actually a person is doing multiple things at the same time. Yes, they are switching between multiple things, but there is nothing called multitasking actually. If you think about it, you could be thinking about one thing for 1 second, second thing for the next second, third thing the next second, but you're not thinking three things at the same time, even if the difference is nanoseconds. So there is nothing called multitasking. You are following 2, 3, 4, 5 interests at the same time. The span of attention is different. And what do we mean by focus is giving a lot of attention and span of time to one particular activity. That is what focus is. And we should focus. We should be very focused.
Thank you, sir. So Deepthi has given the description of her question. So she wants to ask that if there are certain rules to take the decision and those are the prescribed methods, but according to you, that particular decision making technique is not fine. So can we go with the flexible method of taking the decision?
Oh, of course, every decision is yours. You have to apply your mind. Nobody else can take a decision. Nobody can prescribe. Like I started in the very beginning, these are my suggestions to you based on my experience. Now, my experience is very different from your experience. My family circumstances could be very different from your family circumstances. Even within your batch, every person has been shaped by their own life. किसी को बचपन में बहुत कंजूस वाला माहौल मिला, पेरेंट्स बहुत they were not earning very well. किसी के पेरेंट्स बहुत रिच हैं, किसी के घर में एक बहुत मिडिल क्लास माहौल है, किसी के घर में पेरेंट्स बहुत पढ़े लिखे नहीं है, किसी के पेरेंट्स बहुत पढ़े लिखे हैं, राइट? तो हर बंदे का माहौल बहुत डिफरेंट होता है, हर बंदे की अपब्रिंगिंग, स्कूल में पीयर ग्रुप कैसा था, मेरे दोस्त कैसे हैं, ये सब चीजें हमें डिफाइन करती हैं. इफ यू आर 20 ईयर 19 20 years today, you have been shaped by people around you, your parents, your family, your relatives, your friends, your schoolmates, your teachers, the people you play with, the people you talk to. So each one, which is why each one of us is a very unique person. And your ability to take decisions is also unique. Yes, in an MBA, you will learn how to take decisions. You will learn way to analyze situations. You will learn how to think deeply about a particular situation. What are the factors that you account for while taking a decision? But ultimately, it is you who is deciding, and always it should be you who is deciding. Never follow anybody's advice blindly, not even mine. What worked for me may not work for you.